Okay, here's a quick little video for number 2 for the right triangle trigonometry. So it's saying that Mr. Soshi wants to buy a new computer monitor. He knows that the diagonal of the cubby hole he wants to put the monitor in creates a 30, 60, 90 triangle and measures 26 inches. So, just looking at that part, it says that he wants to buy a new monitor. Here's the monitor, and I've already got the measurements on there, and it tells us in a second that those are 12 inches by 16 inches. So this here, that's the monitor, so I'll just put the M there just so we remember that that's the monitor. Over here I've got the cubby that was described. Now all that was described was that the cubby forms a 30, 60, 90 triangle when we take the diagonal. So here's a diagonal, and by doing that we form a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Then it tells us that it measures 26 inches. When they say that, they're talking about the diagonal. It measures 26 inches. So there's the diagonal, which is 26 inches. So clearly here we have to use our 30, 60, 90 rules. So what they give us is this 26. That's our hypotenuse. So that's our hypotenuse up there. Then we have to label our small leg and our long leg. So remember, across from the 30, so over here, across from the 30, that's going to be my small leg. And then obviously then that's my long leg. Okay? Now we need to find out the small and the long so that we know all 4 sides to see if it's going to fit this monitor inside. Now remember, we're trying to put the monitor inside the cubby. Will the monitor fit inside the cubby? Not the other way around, otherwise that'll totally mess you up, right? So, that being said, the first rule that we know of a 30, 60, 90 is that the small leg here is going to be half of the hypotenuse. So if the hypotenuse is 26, the small is going to be 13. Okay? Now if that side's 13, then this side over here is also going to be 13. So we've got one of them. Now we've got to figure out the long leg. And if we remember, our 30, 60, 90 rules tell us that the long leg equals the small times radical 3. So that means this side is going to be 13 radical 3 because the small is 13, right? So the small will be plugged in there times radical 3, so 13 times radical 3 is 13 radical 3, and of course that means that this side is also 13 radical 3. Now with those radicals there, it's kind of tough to tell what that actually is. So if I put 13 radical 3, okay, if you type in 13 times radical 3 into the calculator, that's actually going to give you 22.5 or so. So this is 22.5, which makes this 22.5, okay? So we can kind of ignore the 13 radical 3 now and just know that those sides are 22 radical 5. I'm sorry, 22.5. Anyway, so now if we take a look here, this monitor will fit inside of here because this is 12, so 12 will fit into 13, and this side is 15, and that'll fit into 22.5. So the answer, and I think like you said, is yes. The monitor will fit because using those 30, 60, 90 rules proves that it's going to fit into there. Okay? So the monitor will fit into the cubby. Okay, here's a number 3. Number 3 says Mark and Sasha leave their house at the same time. So they're starting from the same spot and leaving at the same time. And it says Mark is traveling north at 60 miles per hour. So let's just say that's the house. Mark's going north at 60 miles per hour. So let's just put 60 miles per hour here. Pardon the writing on the side pad. So that's 60 miles per hour. And then it says that Sasha is traveling east at 40. So starting from the same spot, Sasha's traveling east at 40 miles per hour. Okay? It says, how far apart are they after 0.25 hours? So, if we were to, it's asking how far apart. Remember, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So, if we make a little line going here, that will complete our right triangle, of course. Right? And now we've got to remember, is 60 miles per hour or 40 miles per hour, are those a distance? No, they're not. Those are a speed, right? So we want to convert this to figure out a distance. That's where the where it says that they how far apart are they after 0.25 hours, right? So 0.25 hours, which is a fourth of an hour, right? Which is 15 minutes, right? So what we're going to do here then is if we are going 60 miles in a full hour, right? 60 miles per hour, that's 60 miles per full hour. In 40 miles per full hour, we want to convert that because we're only going for 15 minutes at that hour. We're only going 0.25 hours. So we're going to take each of those numbers. So I'm going to do 60 times 0.25 or 0.25, same thing. And that's going to, and if I do 60 times 0.25, that's going to give me 15. Okay? And I'm going to bring that over here because that's really 15. That side is really 15. And then I'm going to take 40 times 0.25, and that's going to give me 10. Okay? And that's going to come over here. So that's really 10, right? So now this side is 10, this side is 15. Okay? Those are distances, 15 miles and 10 miles. So now we can go to work. And as we notice here, we have a right triangle. And we know that if we have a right triangle and we know two of the sides, we can always figure out the missing side, which is what they want, right? That's what they want over there. So let's just call that the x. We can figure that out by using the Pythagorean Theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Of course, my a and my b are my legs, and we can flip those back and forth. C is always your hypotenuse, which is always across from the right angle. So now we can just plug in. So for A, we have 15 squared plus B, which is 10 squared, equals C, which is x squared. Now we simplify. 15 squared is 225 plus 10 squared, which is 100, equals x squared. Add those two together, right, because they're on one side and we want to combine like terms. So 225 plus 100, 325, equals x squared. Not done yet because we have to get rid of the squared, so we square root each side. And the square root of 325 is going to be 18.3 miles. We always want to include that in there. So there's your answer. That means that this side over here, our hypotenuse, is 18.3 miles. So just be careful on this problem to remember that 60 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour and 40 miles per hour, those are speeds. They are not distances. So don't do 60 squared plus 40 squared equals c squared, because that's not going to work out for you. Okay? Make sure that you take into account that 0.25 of an hour and multiply that by each number. If it said 0.50, then we multiply each one by 0.50. If it said an hour and a half, then we multiply each one by 1.5. Okay? Hopefully these helped out.